Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to be making a clone of the PayPal website, which is going to be the Kenyan version of the PayPal website. And it's not only going to be the homepage or the landing page, but we're also going to build out the internal pages. So all these pages that you're seeing here, we are going to build them all out. And once again, I'm emphasizing that this is the Kenyan version of the PayPal website. If you go ahead and try to visit the US version, this is how it currently looks. So this is how it currently looks for the US version of the PayPal website. And this is the New Zealand version. You can see it changes with the location. And then this is also the German website, the German version of the website, I should say. So what we're going to be working with is the Kenyan version. This is what we're going to build out. We're going to be building out all these pages. And the repository that we're going to be using is called PayPal homepage clone. You can check the link in the description. I'm going to link it below so that you can have easy access to it. And inside here, you're going to find that I have canvassed a new React application and I have added the images folder, and it's going to contain the images that we're going to need for this particular build in the homepage. Currently, it only has the images for the homepage, but as we continue to build it out, then I'm going to add more images for the other pages as well. So currently, this is what we're going to be working with. And the first thing that I want to do just to get up to speed is I want to go ahead and clone this repository on my local machine. So I'm going to go to this green button. I'm going to click and say local, and I'm going to be using git clone. So I'm just going to copy this link. Alternatively, you can download the zip file and then extract it, and you can work in that extracted folder. My preference is just to use git. So I'm going to copy this link, and then I'm going to open up a terminal, so command prompt, and then I'm going to cd into my desktop and then into a folder that is called yt-videos, and then I'm going to say git clone and then paste in this link, and it is going to clone into a folder that is called PayPal homepage clone. And so once it finishes, in 3 2 1 0. Okay, that's annoying. Sometimes it's really fast and other times it is extremely slow. I have no idea why. Perhaps it's just my machine. Okay, so I actually think something is wrong with this because it doesn't take this long. So let me cancel it. Clone succeeded, really. Let's say git clone again. So git clone and then paste this. Really? Why? Okay, copy this again. And then git clone and paste this in. Okay, let's delete this file, this folder. So, and then let's say git clone again. Okay, could you work, please? There we go. See how it was fast this time? I don't know. Okay, now I want to open up an instance of Visual Studio Code into the newly created folder. So I'm going to say code PayPal homepage clone. And this opens up an instance of Visual Studio Code into this folder. And then I can close this out because we no longer need it. And then we can close this as well. And then the first thing that we need to do is I want to mention that I have a few dependencies here. So I installed React Router DOM, and then I also installed Tailwind CSS, which is right here. And the reason why I did that offline is because it is going to be faster, because all we need to do now is just say npm install, and it's going to install these dependencies and all other dependencies that we're going to need for our application. I just thought it would be faster, but in case you want a detailed step-by-step on how to install them, then you can check out the Tailwind CSS website. So I'm going to say Ctrl J, which is going to open up my integrated terminal. And you can see that now we are in the PayPal homepage clone folder. And then I'm just going to say npm install. And then I'm going to let this run. And so once that finishes running, then I'm going to say npm start, which is going to start our local server on localhost 3000. And there we go. So once it opens up, you can see that we have PayPal homepage clone as the only text that is rendering on the screen. And that is because if you take a look in the app.js, obviously by the time you're seeing this video, then this is not what is going to be built out in the app.js. But currently this is what I have, and that is the reason why we have this rendering to the screen. And then the reason why it is styled out like so is because of these classes that I've added in Tailwind, and a custom class that is called heading on the heading 1 that we have here. And the reason why I have this here is because we're going to be using this style many times across our application. So as we begin, the first thing that I want to do is I want to set up our routing. So let me close these multiple pages. I want to set up our routing where we're going to be able to link back to the home page here. And then we need to add in these many pages and these ones as well. And then the pages for partners and developers. And then the login and sign up pages as well, which are just going to be forms. Before we can begin building everything out, I just want to make sure that this is all working. So using React Router DOM, I'm going to go inside my app.js. And then on top of this, we are going to say import browser router. So browser router, and then we're also going to import routes and then the route component as well. And this is going to be coming from React Router DOM. And probably this should come second because React is a higher level import than this. And then now instead of returning an H1, let's remove all this. Let's return a fragment. And then let's return browser router. So browser router and close it out. And then let's return the routes component. So the routes component. And then let's begin constructing the route path for each one of these. So the path for the /, we're going to be creating an element that is called homepage. Now remember that we don't yet have these pages. So once I save this, then it is going to break our application. So for example, if I save this, then notice what happens in our app. Then this should break if this reloads. If it reloads anytime today, you can see that now it breaks. That is because we don't have this page currently, or this component, if you want to call it that. And then I just want to say how many pages do we need. So we need 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 pages. Those are many. So I'm going to say copy and paste 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13, and then finally 14 is going to be our error page. Now this, oh my god, these are going to be many pages. So let's see. The first page is obviously the /, which is going to be our homepage or our landing page. The second page is going to say how PayPal works. So how PayPal works, let me see, what is the link to this? The link is /personal. What is the link to this? Pay online, send payments, get paid. Okay, so I'm just going to make similar links to this. So let's say this first one is going to go into /personal. And then the component is going to be called personal. Just call the components the same thing as the link so that it doesn't confuse me. And then let's say pay online. So pay -online, and then pay online. And then this is going to say send payments. So send money online, and requesting payments. So send -money -online. And then we're going to say request, wait, what was this? Send payments, payments. And then this is going to say requesting payments, requesting payments for our path. And then the component that is going to be called get paid, we're going to be rendering here. So get paid. And then we need the get the PayPal app. So mobile apps, so /mobile apps, mobile-apps. The element, we're going to call it mobile apps, which we're going to create, and then search for deals. So this is shopping, so /shopping. This is going to say shopping component, and then this is going to say all business solutions. So merchant, accept payments online, email, invoice, and freelancers. So merchant here, and then the element, oops, going to be called merchant as well. And then we have the accept payments online, accept payments online. The element is going to say let me say accept, let me just call it the same way, so accept online payments. And then we have the email invoice, so send invoices, so email -invoice, and then send invoice. and then this is going to say /freelancers, and then the element here is going to say PayPal for freelancers. So let me just call it freelancers. And then we need the partners and developers. So partners and developers. And then the component is going to be called partners and developers. And then we need the login. So login, log in, and then sign up. This is going to say sign up. And then finally we're going to have the error page, which is going a wildcard, and then we're going to say error page. So error. So what this means is that for every other page that doesn't match any of this, then the error page is going to show up. And let's save this and let's break our application a bit. It's going to break obviously once this finishes compiling. And then let's change the document title here to say a simple and safer way to pay and get paid. So inside the index HTML, let's change this title to a simple and safer way to pay and get paid, and then let's say PayPal Kenya. There we go. So save it, and then we can close this. And then now what I want to do is, because all of these are pages, right? All of these are going to be pages. I'm not going to place them inside a components folder. Instead, I'm going to place them inside a source folder and inside a folder that is called pages. So pages, let's go ahead and create homepage.js. So homepage.js, and then let's just say RFC, and it's going to create this. Now RFC comes from an extension that I have that is called ES7 plus React Redux and React Native snippets, such that I can do shorthand properties like RFC, and it's going to create a function component for me and export it as default. It just makes the programming faster because you don't have to keep on repeating some blocks of code that you don't have to. So once you create homepage, you can close it down, and then let's go ahead and create personal. So personal.js, and then let's say RFC, and then let's go ahead and create pay online. So pay online.js. Probably I want this to be open somewhere so that I can see the names that we are creating. Oh my god, this is hard. So pay online, let's say RFC here, and then we need this send payments. So new file, send payments.js, let's say RFC, and then we need the get paid. So new file, get paid.js, let's say RFC. Don't want this to be here, I need it to be here. Okay, and then we need the mobile apps. So mobile apps.js, let's say RFC, and then we need the shopping and then the merchant. So shopping.js, let's say RFC, come on, RFC, let's say merchant.js. So merchant.js, let's say RFC, and then let's go ahead and say accept online payments. So accept online payments.js, let's say RFC, and then we have send invoice and freelancers. So send invoice.js, let's say RFC, and then freelancers. So freelancers.js, let's say RFC, and then we have partners and developers. So partners and developers.js, and then let's say RFC, and then we have the login, the sign up. So login.js, let's say RFC, we have the sign up. So sign up.js, let's say RFC, and then we need the error page. So error.js, and then let's say RFC, and there we go. Now see how all these pages, there are quite many to import them one by one inside. Let me close all of this. So there are quite many to import all of them singly, one by one in the app.js. So what I'm going to do is inside the pages folder, I'm going to create a new file that is called index.js. And then inside index.js, we're going to import all of these files. So let's say import accept payments, accept online payments from /accept. There we go. And then copy this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 should be enough. And then let's say export, and then we're going to be exporting each of these files. So the first one is accept online payments. The second one, just click on this one and say Control D. This is called error. And then next Control D. This is called freelancers. Next we have get paid. And then next we have home page. And then next we have login, and then merchant, and then mobile apps, and then partners, and developers, and then pay online, and then personal, and then send invoice, and then send payments, and then shopping, and then finally sign up. And then before we can use them in the app.js, we need to export all of them. So export accept online payments, and then error, and then freelancers, and then get paid, and then homepage, and then login, and then merchant, and then mobile apps, and then partners and developers, and pay online, and personal, and send invoice, and send payments, and shopping, and then sign up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this part because I don't want to repeat all this. So I'm just going to copy it and then save your index.js. And then inside my app.js, I'm going to paste this below, and then I'm going to change this to import. So import them. So we are importing all of these files, and these files, these files are coming from /pages. So now we don't have to import all of these files singly, but we can just import all of them from the pages folder. And the reason why that is possible is because the pages folder has the index.js folder in the index.js file. And the way JavaScript interprets that is that the index.js is now the entry file for the pages folder. So you can import everything inside here, and then you can just export all of them at once. So once you have that, then I can save this, and you should see that this, okay, login is not defined, app.js 44, 42, app.js 44, login. Did I call it with a small I? I think I did. There we go. So that now we should be able to see what is the homepage. We should be seeing something here because we're currently on the homepage, but we are not for some reason. So let's go inside the homepage, and why doesn't this work? Let's reload. Okay, there we go. So we see homepage right there. That's looking nice. Now, once we have that, I want to go ahead and create a new folder that inside the source folder that is called data. So data, and that is going to have quite a few things. So for example, inside here, what I want it to hold for now is all these links that we have just created. And then in future, we're going to be creating like things like this. We're just going to have them inside our data so that we don't have to hard code everything inside. And then it also ensures that things are dynamic so that I can just change something in the data and it changes it everywhere within our application. And also, in order to do things like this for the buyers, for sellers to create these tabs, we're also going to have some piece of data that we're going to create, and then for other pages as well. But for now, we only need the navigation bar. So inside data folder, I'm going to create a new file that is called data.js, and then I'm going to say export const data, and then this is going to be equal to an array of objects, and the objects are going to have a title, and the title for this is just going to say how PayPal works. So this one, so how PayPal works, and then below this I'm going to have another property that is called description, and then description is going to say this bottom line. So what can you do with a personal account? What can you do with a personal account? And then we're just going to do the same thing. Now before I continue, I want this to link to a URL, and the URL for how PayPal works is going to be going into the forward slash, because remember how PayPal works is showing the, wait a minute, it's not the homepage, it is the forward slash personal page, the forward slash personal page. So every link that we're going to create is going to be linking to a page that we have created in our app.js, and that is what I want to happen, right? And we're going to be creating like 13 of these links, so I can just copy this. And actually, how do I want this to happen? I think what I want to do here is I want to create, this is going to be the parent array, and then I'm going to create an object for the personal here, and then an object for business, and then an object for this one as well, so that we can separate them out. Otherwise they're going to, like, it's going to be interpreted as if they are all one item. I don't know whether you get what I mean, but let me try and do it here, and then probably you're going to understand it. So let's go ahead and say that inside here, so inside here, let's go ahead and remove this first of all, and then let's say that this is for personal. So for the personal link, then we're going to create this. Wait a minute, is that correct? Wait, I want this to be an array, right? I need this to be an array. Let's see. What am I missing? Okay, there we go. I need this to be an array of objects. Okay. And then we can create more links inside here. So we need about 6 links for the personal. So copy, and you know what, let me just say Shift Alt and down. So 1 2 3 4 5, and then this is going to say pay online. So pay online, online payments without borders. So pay online, and then this is going to say online payments without borders. Okay, let me minimize this and then bring this to the side here, because I want to see these links. So this is going to say /pay-online, and then next we have send payments, and send payments locally or abroad. So send payments, and then it says send payments locally or abroad, and then the link says send money online, and then next we have get paid. So wait, what? Oh, here. Okay, get paid, and then the text says request payments from almost anyone. So request payments from almost anyone, and the link says requesting payments. So requesting payments. Make sure that these links correspond to the links that you created here, otherwise you're going to get an error page. And then next we have get the PayPal app. So manage your account on your mobile. So get the PayPal app. Wait, what was it? Get the PayPal app, and then manage your account on mobile. Manage your account on your mobile. The link is going to say /mobile-apps, and then next we have search for deals, and then pay with PayPal and save money. So search for deals, and then this is pay with PayPal, and save money. And then this link now goes into /shopping. Okay, so once we have that, you can see that we have only created the links for this first tab, like for this drop down, right? So now we want to create the links for the second tab, which is the business tab. And so what I'm going to do is right from the end of this array, I'm going to copy this part. Actually, is that a good idea? Is this even a good idea? I've just realized. Probably I should change this into an array. Let me see whether it's going to work. Change this into an array. And this is going to be personal is equal to this. Okay. And then now I can copy personal down. So copy and paste it right below this. But we're going to move two links because this second one only has 4 and this second one says business. And then it says business and then all business solutions. So all business solutions. Okay, they are small case. And then the text says see our range of products. So oops, see our range of products. And then the text here should say what raised me up JS. Bring it here. So it says, where is it? Merchant. So this is going to /merchant. And then this next one says accept online payments, get paid on your website. So accept online payments. And then the text here says get paid on your website. The link here is going to say accept payments dash online. And then next here the link says email invoice, so email dash invoice. The text here is going to say create and email online invoices. Create and email online invoices. And then here is going to say send invoices. And then finally have PayPal for freelancers, so grow your freelance business. So PayPal for freelancers, and then grow your freelance business. And then the link here goes into /freelancers. Those were many pages to create for all that. And then once we have that, then we can save it. And then we are going to consume this in a moment. But for now, it's just going to be as so. Okay, so that is the initial structure that we're going to have. And in the next video, then we're going to begin with building out our hero section right here. Hello everyone. So in the last video, we set up React Rotterdam where we created our links, and then we also set up our components corresponding to each of those links. And then we also built some kind of data array for our navbar. But I'm going to mention that we are going to build the navbar as the last item. So we are going to be navigating manually for now, but once we finish building our application, that's when we're going to add in our navbar. And the reason is because I hate dealing with navbars. We also set up our pages, and we set up many components in our pages, and our application is running on localhost 3000, currently showing the homepage. So let's go ahead and let's now create our homepage, which is basically this hero section, and then we are going to just continue moving downwards. So obviously the first thing that we need to do is we need to add in this background image, and remember that we have an images folder here, and inside the images folder we have the hero banner JPEG right there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out this images folder from here. So cut it out, and then inside my source folder I'm going to paste it inside, so that now we're going to have the images inside our source folder. And then I'm going to create a new folder inside the images folder. So just right click and say new folder, and I'm going to call this folder homepage, just so that we can divide the images on the homepage and those from other pages. And then I'm just going to grab all of these and then just drag them inside the homepage. So drag and drop. And there we go. So that is going to be our structure. And probably we're going to be restructuring this quite a few times, just depending on how the application is going to go. And so now what I'm going to do is insert the pages folder, because now we want to build out the homepage, right? Where is the homepage? Here. We want to build out the homepage, which currently just says homepage. But the homepage, remember, encompasses all of this. So I want to have different components that are going to be housing this. So I'm going to create a new folder here inside the pages folder that is called components. And then inside components folder, I'm going to create a homepage folder. So homepage. Okay. And then now inside the homepage folder, I'm going to create a new file that is called hero.js. That is quite a deeply nested file structure, but we can work with it. So now inside hero.js, I'm just going to say rfc, which is going to generate this for me. And then now instead of rendering homepage here, I want to render the hero section. So the hero, just like that. You can see that it is imported from components homepage hero, meaning from this file, from this folder, and then this file. So that now when I save this and we take a look at our application, we should see reload. So once it reloads, you can see that we only have hero displaying on the screen, and that is what we want because that is the only thing that we are currently rendering. So let's go ahead and let's begin to build out this structure, and the structure is going to be as follows. Inside the hero component that we have just created, let's return a fragment first of all, and then inside here we're going to create a section. And this section is going to be the parent for our entire background image. So we're going to add this background image using CSS. And then this section, therefore, let's give it a class name of, let's just call it hero. And then inside here, let's create a div with a class of overlay. And the div with a class of overlay is going to house this h1. So h1 with a class of heading. Remember that in our CSS, we have a class of heading right here. So this custom class is going to be for headings such as this one. So let's go ahead and add in this heading. Let me just copy this. So copy and paste it in. And then below this, we're going to have a paragraph. So paragraph that says this. So copy and paste it in. And then below this paragraph, we have a link here that goes into link account. Is there a link for this? Let me see where it goes. I don't think we created a page for this. Yeah, this is an entirely different website here. So for now, I'm just going to have it in as a button with a custom class of btn blue, which we're going to create, and it says link accounts. There we go. So let's save this and let's see what we have on the screen, and we should have only this. Okay, so now let's begin to style this out. Of course, I want to build it mobile first, so drag this to the right, and then let's place our code editor to the left. And then inside our CSS file, which is right here, let's go ahead and say that for the hero section, we want it to have a height of, let's say, about 600 pixels. And then we want the background to be coming from URL from /images/homepage/hero banner.jpg. Let's save it and we should see it appear somewhere. There we go. Okay, now obviously this is not what we want to happen, right? Because you can see on large screens, then it displays correctly, and you can zoom out, but then you notice that when you zoom out, it displays as not what you expect, basically. So let's fix that right away. Now, since we're building this mobile first, I want that the lady here should appear on mobile screens. So therefore, what we're going to do is this. First of all, we want to get rid of the repeating images. So let's set a property of no repeat. And then let's set it to the right because that's where the lady is. And then let's set it to cover. And it should come here. There we go. So on mobile screens, this is how it's going to look. And on large screens, it's going to look like this. Now, the reason why it doesn't really show any kind of difference is because the image is large enough such that it spans the entire width properly. But what you can do is, if you want to fix it on large screens, just in case you are going to have an issue, then you can add a media query here and say that for a min width of about, let's say, 1440 pixels, meaning if you have a device that is greater than 1440 pixels, then you want to readjust these properties a bit. Oops, no, don't do that. Let's copy this and paste it here, and then we don't need to have this. but you can now set this to the center. Now here nothing is really going to change because the image spans the entire width properly, but just in case you're going to be working with images that you want to display like some kind of way, you can just play around with the positioning right here. So this, you can add this in or you can comment it out. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't change anything in our application currently. So now once we have that, then what we want to do is we need this text to move to the center. And the way we do that is by just doing this. Let's first of all save this. And then inside our hero section, inside this div with the class of overlay, we can actually remove this class from here. And then we can turn this into a flex box. And when I save this, notice what happens. We don't want that to happen, right? We want them to go one on top of the other. So let's add a flex column here. And then let's say items dash center and justify dash center and save it. And you can see that nothing really changes, right? Of course, we want the text to go to the center, and then let's add a padding X of 8, meaning it's going to push this inwards just a bit. And then we want this to move to the center of the image, right? Now, the way we do that is by adding a fixed height. So for example, if I go inside here and add a custom style and I set the height to, I had 600 pixels on this section. When I save this, then it's going to move to the perfect center. And that is what you want. Now you can add this here, or you can add it inside your CSS by just saying that for the hero and then the div, you want the height to be 600 pixels. And when I save that and then come and comment this out, you see that nothing changes on the screen because they basically do the same thing. Now the reason why I've added in this inside here is because the height of our hero image doesn't change even on larger screens. You can see that we haven't played around with this height anywhere else, right? So you can add it in your CSS if you want a bit more control, or you can add it in your JSX. It does the same thing basically. So let me comment this out. And then of course, let's begin to change out these colors and style out our H1s. So inside here, let's say, you know, the headings, we can style all the headings at once by going into our custom class. Let's set the color to white. Oops, set the color to white, come on. Okay, and then let's use a tailwind directive called @apply, and then let's say text dash 4XL to begin with. And then let's say that for large screens, then the text should be 5XL just to make it a bit bigger. And actually, I think that should be it, right? Let's go back into our hero.js. Let's go inside this paragraph. Let's give this a class name of margin on the Y of 6 to push away from the heading as well as from this button. Let's change the text into white, and that should be it actually. You know what, let's make it larger because it is the text on the hero section. And then let's deal with our btn. So inside our button, let's create a custom class right above the heading called btn-blue. And inside here, I'm going to use a background color here. And the background color, let me just get the correct one and open up. There we go. Let me use my extension here that is called color picker eyedropper. Let's copy this hex value and then let's add it in here. There we go. So that is the correct color for our button. And then let's continue to style it out. And we're going to say this. We're going to say @apply once again from Tailwind. We're going to say padding on the Y of 2, padding on the X of 8, rounded dash full to add a rounded border with a very slight box shadow, though you don't need to add in a box shadow really. And then let's change the text to white. So text dash white, let's say with dash full. I think that should work. There we go. And that is our button looking nice, nice, nice. Let me say padding on the top of 3 and padding on the bottom of 2 so that this readjusts properly. Does that really actually? I don't think it matters. Let's just say padding on the Y of 3. Padding Y of 3. That looks nice. And then let's also have a hover, a kind of hover state. So I'm going to say that when you hover over this, let's turn the BG into blue-600. Let me see how that changes. Let's say 700. I want it to be darker. Or, you know what, that works actually. And then let's say add a transition on all properties, transition all with a duration of 200. And there we go. That's looking nice, nice, nice. So that is our custom button. And you can see that that is our hero section. Obviously, you don't want this to do this on large screens really. So let's go ahead and fix this right around here, where we're going to say that once we get to what's the let's go ahead and say that once we get to small devices, which is about 640 pixels, then the width of the button should go back to auto, which is going to fix this. And then for small widths, let's increase the padding on the X to be about 20, meaning for small device widths and above. And then let's limit this section, so right around this div, actually the div, we need to limit the div. So here we can go ahead and say that for small screens, then the max width should be 3XL. Let me see how small that is. That looks okay. Actually, how does it look on large screens? Oh, it looks like this. Actually, this is smaller on large screens. I've just noticed. It's okay. So we need to make it right around, let's say about 4XL. And then let's say that for small screens, then the MX should be auto, which is going to center it properly. There we go. Looking nice, nice, nice. Let's reduce the height for this to about 500 here. And then inside our CSS, let's reduce the height to 500 here. That should reduce it. There we go. We can work with that. Looking nice, nice, nice. That is basically our first section. You can see that it is responsive from mobile all the way upwards. So let's go ahead and build our second section, which is this part, as well as this one. And you know what? I can actually place this and this one to be one component. So let's go ahead and let's create a new component inside our homepage. So inside our homepage here, let's create a new component and let's call it well, let me just call it section 2 because I can't think of anything. So section2.js, and then let's say rfc inside here, and let's return a fragment. And not, let's just say section2 just to see what we are rendering on the screen. So let's go ahead and render section2 inside our homepage. So right below this, let's render section2, and inside our application we should be able to see section2 right there. So let's go ahead and build it out. So inside section2, the first thing that I want to do is I want to return a div, and inside this div I want to add in this text that says this. So let me just copy all of this, so paste it. Let me just paste it here, and then we're going to have a button that says explore business solutions. So explore business solutions, and let me save this and let's see what happens here. So there we go. So we have our button, and then we have this. So inside this div, let's give this div a class name of text-center with the padding X of 8 because that's what I used up top. And then let me add a padding Y of 3 maybe. How does that look? Too small. Let me say padding Y of 6. Okay, let me add a BG of slate-200 to see how the background looks. Let me reduce it to 100. Yeah, that looks much better. And then let's increase this text. Let me say text-XL. How does that look? You know what? Let me say text-large for small screens, and then for large screens I can say text-XL. Let's see. Okay, that looks okay. Let me see. This text needs to be lighter just a bit, so let me change the text color. Let me say text slate-600. How does that look? Not so good. Let me say 700. And then inside the button, let's begin to add a class name here. Let me say border-2 and border dash, what is the color? Border blue-600. 600, that, I mean, it does almost match to this. And then let me say text-small to reduce it. Okay, not small really, but text-base to reduce it. And then let me add a padding on the X of, you know, padding all around. Let me say padding all around of 3 and rounded-full to make it rounded on the edges. Okay, this was not a good idea. Let me say padding S of 3 and padding Y of 1. How does that look? Okay, that looks okay actually. And then I don't know whether you can see it, but it looks as though this text is just a bit above the button, like it's not perfectly centered. So let's fix that by changing this into a flex box. Obviously it's going to go back here, but we can bring it to the center. Let's first say item center, and when I save it, look, it now moves downward just a bit. I mean, it's barely visible, and sometimes you can ignore it, but it bothers me, so let me fix it. And then let's add a gap of about 4 to separate it out from this button. And then let's say justify center, which is going to bring it back to the center. And there we go, looking nice. And on small screens, this is how it's going to look. Obviously, we don't want it to look like this, so let's fix it up. Let's say that change this into a flex column, and then on medium screens, meaning tablets and above, then change this back into flex row. So flex row, meaning on mobile devices, it's going to be stacked one on top of the other. And then on larger devices right around here, you can see that now it goes back into raw form. That is the kind of responsiveness that we want, and I did not mean to close that, but there we go. So that is the first div on top. So let's go ahead and create this second part. So we're going to go outside of this div, and we're going to create a section, and this section is going to have an h2 that says PayPal is for everyone who wants to get paid. There we go. And then that is going to be our h2, and then below this h2 we're going to have a div that is going to have articles. So the div is going to be the parent for everything inside here, and then the articles are going to be each of these items. So 1, 2, and 3. So let's go ahead and do this. Let me have an article. The first article is going to have an image that we're going to bring in, and then below this we're going to have an h4 that says individuals. So individuals, and then below this h4 we're going to have a paragraph that says this. So let me just copy and paste it here, and then below this paragraph we're going to have a button that says learn more, and it is camel cased, not camel cased but capitalized. So before we save this, let's go ahead and bring in one image, and the image is going to be called, what is it called? Individuals. So 1 individuals. So let's go ahead and say import, let me say individuals from dot slash, or is it dot slash, and then dot slash again, and then dot slash again, and then images / homepage / 1 dash individuals dot jpeg. Okay, and then let's render out the image here. So individuals, and then let's save it, and we should be able to see something on the screen right there. Okay, now this is one way that you can do it. You can hard code everything inside here, but I don't want to do that. Instead, I want to create an array of objects that we can then loop over and then display them on the screen, which makes our data just a bit more dynamic to manage. And so what I'm going to do therefore is this. I'm going to go inside our data.js file, so data.js, and then I'm going to create a new array of objects here, and I'm going to say export const. Let me say, what should I call this? Okay, now this is the problem with this. Thinking of names is so hard. Let me just call it section 2. So section 2, just to make it rhyme with everything. So section 2. And then inside here, I'm going to create an array of objects. Obviously, the title here is going to say individuals, and then the description, meaning the paragraph text, is going to say this. Oops, this one. Copy and paste it in. And then below this, we're going to have a button that says learn more, and then we need to get our image. Now the image, we're going to need to restructure this a bit once again, but the image is going to become from /images / homepage / 1 - individuals .jpeg. Now I want to show you this so that you understand why we're going to restructure a bit, but for now it's going to remain like this. And then let's just copy this 2 more times. So Shift Alt and down, meaning copy it once and then 1 more time. And then the second one says businesses. So let me copy this part, copy, change this into businesses, and then paste in this text here. And then this is going to say businesses, and it says 2 - businesses. And then this one says PD, 3 - PD. And what does PD? Partners and developers. And then let's copy this text and paste it here, and says partners and developers. It is small letter. There we go. Now let's go ahead and save this, and then back inside our section 2 on top, let's go ahead and import use state. So use state, and then let's create our state value. So I'm going to say const, let me call them cards, is equal to use state, and by default we want to get in this data that we've just created called section2. So we also need to import that data. So right below this, let's say import section2. Remember, it is a named import here because in our data.js it is a named export, so it is not a default export. Okay, so let's say import section2 from, and it is coming from dot slash oops dot slash dot slash data / data. There we go. That is the correct path for it. And then inside our use state, let's go ahead and pass in section2. There we go. So we are importing our data and then we are initializing it here to our card state value. And then what we need to do now is, instead of now rendering this article like so, then we are going to map over our cards. So we're going to say cards.map. And then for every card that we get back, we also want to get back the index of the card. And then we're going to be returning this article. So cut this out from here and paste it here. And because we are mapping over some data, we need to have a unique key, and that's why we're getting the index here. So the unique key is going to be the index. And then the image here is now no longer individuals, but it's going to be card.image. And card.image, because we are now accessing the values here by their properties. So card.image, and then the title here is now no longer going to be hard coded, but we're going to say card.title. And then the paragraph is going to say card.description, and then the button is going to say card.button. And then now let's go ahead and save this and watch our application break just a bit. So let's, okay, so personal is not defined, business is not defined. Where is it? Where is it? What does it say? Data.js line 3, 6. Oh, wait a minute, it's getting this one. What? Okay, let me disable all of this. Disable all of this. Just comment it out. And then let's save it, and it should fix our application. And you can see that now all of this is fixed, but we can't see the images, even though we know that the images exist. That is because when you're doing something like this, then the images that you are targeting have to be inside the public folder. So let's go ahead inside the public folder and create a new folder called images. And then images, we need to go inside the homepage folder again. So create a new folder here called homepage. And then inside homepage, now we want to get these 3 images. So 1, 2, and 3, just select them and then drag and drop them inside the homepage folder. Drag and drop, there we go. And then now we should go ahead and reload our application and we should be able to see it. But the reason why we have this error is because inside our section2, we imported this on top. So we no longer need this, we can remove it. So save it. And then now when our application reloads, we should be able to see our images. Fantastic. So let's begin to style this out. And let's go inside our section. And the first thing that I want to do inside the section is I want to limit everything so that it doesn't go all the way to the end. Because as you can see, this doesn't go to the end, right? So let's go inside our section and let's give it a class name, and let's say padding on the X of 8 to add a bit of padding so that it doesn't reach the end. And this is only for mobile screens. I mean, not only for mobile screens, but especially for mobile screens, so that it doesn't go all the way to the end here. And now let me just place this here, place it properly. And then let's also add padding on the Y axis to push it everything downwards. So padding Y of about, let's say 10 to push away from this part as well as on the bottom. And then inside this h2, let's give this a class name of, let's say, what? My keyboard language changed again. I hate this. What did I do? Okay, I have fixed my keyboard language because it was bothering me. So now let's begin to style this out, and let's go ahead and say this. Let's say that this text should go to the center, so text dash center. Let's give it a margin bottom of 8 to push away from this part. You know, let me say 6. Okay, you know, let me say 8. Then let's say text dash 2XL for mobile screens. Make it just a bit bigger. Let's say text dash light. Is it light? Is it light or normal? Oh, wait a minute. What font are we using? What font are we using? Oswald, we're using the 200 and 400. So let me say text dash, what is the class? Extra light or what? No, not text, font light. Oh my god. Font light, there we go. And then let me say this. Let's say for large screens, then the text should be 4XL. Make it insanely big. And then let's go ahead and insert this div. Let's see. Is this text to the center? Okay, yes, it is to the center. Let's say that inside this div, you want this div to have a class name of grid. So turn it into a grid with grid columns -1 to begin with a gap of about 4 to separate them out. Let me say 6. And then we're going to say this, that for medium screens, then the grid columns should be 2, and for grid columns 2, and then for large screens, then the grid columns should be 3. And then if I maximize this, then notice that now we now have 3 grids, but I still want to limit them. So let me give them a max width of about 4XL. How large is that? Let me say MX auto so that everything goes to the center so that you can see it properly. So it's right around here. And no, it's still a bit smaller. So let's make ours larger to about 6XL. How large is that? 6 is too big now, right? 6 is too big, just a bit too big, and 5 will be just a bit too small. So you know what, let me use 6XL just because it's bigger. So 6XL, and you can say I googled how to change the keyboard language. It bothered me that much. So let's go ahead and say this, that now that we have this, let's style this out better. Let's style it out better. So businesses, how does it look? Okay, just a bit bigger. So inside our h4, let's give this a class name of text dash large, make it a bit bigger. And then let's say margin on the y of 6, separate it out from the image as well as from this text. Let's go inside here, let's say text slate 600 or 700, I should say. Let's say 700. And then inside the paragraph, how does it look? Let's say give this a class name of margin bottom of 6 to push away from the button. How does the paragraph look? It's bold, right? I mean, it's not really bold, but it's just a bit bolder, so we can overlook that. Let me increase this grid gap here. Let's say that for large screens here, large screens, then the gap should be 10, just to increase this grid gap a bit. Yeah, I think I like it better that way. And then for these buttons, I'm just going to copy the classes on these buttons. So let's go inside our, where is it? Actually, it's right here. So copy this part and then let's paste it inside this button. But we're going to play around with this just a bit because I don't want these buttons to look like this, right? And are they spanning the entire width? Oh yeah, they're spanning the entire width. Wait, this is centered. All this text is centered. Why didn't I say that? So let's go ahead and say text center on the parent div, but the images are not going to be centered, as you can see. So we want to say right here, let's give this a class name of MX auto, which is now centered. There we go. And then for the buttons, we want the width to be full so that they go all the way to the end right there. Let's reduce the border to 1. So border, the class is just called border. And then let's increase the padding here to 3. How does that look? Yeah, so instead of having padding x3 and padding y3 here, we can just say padding all round of 3. That looks much better. Anything else? The text needs to be bold, so font bold, and then text dash blue dash 600. This is bold, not old. There we go, looking nice, fantastic. And you can see that that is our section. But what I want to do is I want to increase the padding on the bottom right here. So we're going to say this, we're going to go inside this section and say that for large screens, then the padding bottom should be 20. Just increase the padding bottom just a bit, and that looks nice. Let's increase the margin bottom on this heading. The heading is right here. Let's say that for large screens, then the margin bottom should be 16. And then here, let me increase this to 5XL because it's looking a bit small. That looks much better, I think. I do think it looks much better. Yeah. Should we become nitpicky? Should we become nitpicky with this? I think we should. Let's go ahead and say here that the padding on the top, or you know what, this can remain, and then let's say that for large screens the padding top should be, you know what, let me just do it like this. Let me just say that padding width should be 20 for large screens. Yeah, let's just do it like that, and then margin bottom 16, and then let's change the color for this h2. Let's change the text to slate 700, and we're going to get that. Fantastic. And then now let's deal with this section next, which is, as you can see, it's quite easy to deal with. And this section, we're going to give it a name of section 3. So create a new file here called section3.js. And please make sure that your files are being created inside the homepage folder. Okay, so everything is coming from inside this homepage folder. So for section 3, let's go ahead and say RFC. And this section is just basically UI. So let's go ahead and create a div after returning a fragment. And then this div is going to be an article because I like articles. And then let's return an h3, you know what? Yeah, let's return an h3. An h3 that says this. So copy and paste. Really? Didn't copy? Copy and paste it here. Below this, let's return a paragraph that says this. Copy and paste, and then below this we're going to return a button, and the button says learn more here. Now I just want to mention that I do realize that these are links. Okay, I do realize that they are links, but the reason why I'm creating them as buttons is because I don't know which pages they are going to currently, and I don't know whether they're going to be linking to any of the pages that we have created. So that's why I'm having them in as buttons for now, really. Anyway, so inside this article, we're going to have this, and you know what? I've just realized that I've messed with the structure because I want this to be limited just like we did here by adding a max width. But the way I've structured this, if I try to limit the article, it is going to limit even the background color. And you know what? Let me just do it so that you see what I mean. So we have created this left article. So let's go ahead and create this right one by just copy pasting this downwards. And then let's copy this and paste it here. And then let's copy this and paste it here. And then this link your PayPal and M-Pesa accounts. So link your PayPal and M-Pesa accounts. Okay, hyphen. Let's save it. And then let's render it inside our homepage. Where is our homepage? Oh my god, the files are becoming too many. So let's render section 3 here, and then and then of course remember to import it on top. Save it, and inside our application we should see this. Now what we need to do is inside section 3 we can close this actually, and this one as well. Actually this one as well. And our data, let's have our data open. So inside section 3, oh wait, I closed it. We need this first article to have a background color. So let's go ahead and add here a style attribute, and let's say background color, and then set it to a hex value. Let's go ahead and get this color. So this extension once again is called color picker eyedropper if you want it. So that is the color here. Let's add in our color, and then let's copy this part and add it inside our second article. Let's space it out, and let's get this color for the second article. So copy and then paste it here. Now when I save this, look at this, we have everything looking correctly. But if I want to come and limit this, then I would go inside this div, right? I would give this a class name of about max width -6xl, and then I would say mx auto. Now this is going to limit everything, but it also limits the background color when we want the background color to persist. And you would say, okay, you know what, then grab it from here and then add it individually on the elements. And I can do that, right? I can add it here, but then that is not really what I want to do. Like, I don't want to keep on adding this class over and over again, right? So let's undo all that. Let's undo all that. And therefore the solution becomes this. Inside this article, we're going to grab the h3, the paragraph, and the button, and place it inside a div, so that now I can go ahead and limit the div once. Oops. I can limit the div to have a max width of 6xl with an mx of auto without having to limit anything else but only the div. And the solution is the same for the bottom article here. You can use an article or a div, it doesn't really matter all that much. So let's copy this class, copy, and paste it here, and we should have limit everything. There we go, looking nice and nice. And then now we can begin to style them out. Now these two articles have the same style, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click right here, and then I'm going to go above and I'm going to click right here, but first I'm going to hold down the Alt key so that I can add two cursors, so that now I'm going to be adding the class names all at once on both articles. So the first thing that I want to do is text white, and then padding on the Y of 10 and padding on the X of 8. And actually not, those are the only two articles we need to add on the parent. We only need to add those two articles. So once we have that, then let's go ahead inside this div, and the div being the parent, we want it to display as a flex item so that they display 1 and 2. And then inside this first article, I need to add a flex of 1, so flex dash 1. And then inside the second article right here, I need to add flex of 1 as well, so that now they take up 50% of the screen without like trying to overdo one another. And I'm still wondering, why doesn't this come here, by the way? Did I do something wrong? Probably this shouldn't be 6xl, it should be something like 4xl. It should be reduced a bit, maybe. Yeah, I think that is the mistake that I made. So we should probably reduce this even a bit more. That wasn't a good idea. That wasn't a very good idea. So let's just continue styling this out. So inside this h3, let's say, let me see, how is it bigger? It's basically just bigger. So give this a class name, and let's say that for mobile screens to begin with, let's say text dash 2xl, and then for large screens, let's say text dash 4xl, and then let's copy these classes and paste them on this h3. And then on this paragraph, the paragraph I think can remain as it is. Let's save it, let's see how it looks. Okay, let's add a margin bottom on the h3. So the h3, let's say margin bottom of 8, and then on the paragraph as well, let's add a margin bottom of 8, and then let's do the same thing on this h3, so margin bottom of 8, and then on this paragraph, let's say class name margin bottom of 8. That is basically just to push each of these elements away from one another, because we don't want them to be so close together, right? And so once we have that, then I want to go ahead and let me see whether I added something, because I've just noticed that this the paragraph is a bit too squeezed for me, okay, only for me, it's a bit too squeezed. I mean, even this one is just a bit like it has a bit of a line height here, and I just noticed that this margin is not as big as I expected. So let's fix that inside this h3 here. Let's reduce the margin on the h3 to about 2, and then as well as on this one, let's reduce it to 2. Let's have it as that. And then let me go and add a global style inside our index css. So right below this, let's have a global style on the paragraph, let's say line height, and then let's set it to 1.8, just to separate it out just a bit, barely visible, but I think this makes it just a bit more readable, and I did not intend for that to rhyme, or did I? Let's go ahead and, okay, now I need to figure out how to fix this. How do I fix this so that it is on the same level? How do I fix that? Nothing is coming to mind as a solution. Let's see. What if I say this is margin X auto? What if I say margin left auto? Should it come here? There you go, margin left auto, meaning only add the margin on the left but not on the right. So let me say this should be, instead of like, let's say XL. I mean, now this is the problem with the Tailwind. Like you can't really get, like you can't really fine tune everything unless you extend it in your Tailwind config file. But I don't want to do that. So let me just deal with this. Not deal with this really, but let me use this. So here, let's copy these classes and let's paste them here. But now this is going to say margin right auto so that it comes here. Okay, would you look at that? It is coming together quite well if I do say so myself, which I do. And that is our section. That is this section right here. So now we can go ahead and create our next section, which says PayPal connects buyers and sellers. And for this section, it's just a bit more technical because we need to add in these tabs. I mean, it's not difficult to add it in, but you know, it can be a bit hard to grasp the concept. So let's go ahead and say this is called section 4 because I can't think of any creative name. So let's say section 4.js and then let's say RFC. Now for section 4, let me go ahead and just render it. Let me close this. Let's say section 4 and then let's remember to import it. Really doesn't want to import. Copy downwards, section 4, section 4. Okay, and we should see section 4 right there. So for this section, let's go ahead and first let me just copy paste this h2 that we had here, which was on section 2. So section 2, let's go ahead and copy paste this part. Oops. Copy and paste it here. So obviously we want to return a fragment first of all, and oops, then our h2. And then this says PayPal connects buyers and sellers. So PayPal connects buyers and sellers. So once we have that, I mean, you can see what we have on the screen right here. Once we have that, then what we need to do is create this section right here. And in order to create this, we're going to create an array of objects. We're going to create an array of objects to hold this data, as well as another array of objects to hold this data. How do I want to do that actually? You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking we're going to have to split this into two components. Okay, so you know what? Instead of creating an array of objects, let me go ahead and do this. Inside our section 4, we're going to create two custom components. So let me say function, call this buyers, and then let's return a fragment that says buyers, and then let's say function sellers, and then let's return a fragment that says sellers. Okay, now let's go ahead and render these two items. Below the h2, let's render buyers, and then let's render sellers. So basically these two components, and then save it, and we should be able to see buyers and sellers here. Now I want to try and implement the functionality of toggling between these two first before we move forward. Otherwise we're going to end up building the entire thing and then the functionality is going to elude us. So let me go ahead and above this, let me import use state from React because we need some state values. So use state from React. And then what we need to do is this. Let's set up our state values. And I'm going to say const value and set value. This is equal to use state. And by default, it's going to be, should it be 0 or 1? Oh, you know what? This needs to be a Boolean. So it's either true or false. It's either true or false because we only have two values. Where is it? We only have two values. So we want that when it is true, we want to render this. And then when it is false, we render, oh, sorry. When bias is true, we render this. And when sellers is true, we render this. That's what we want to happen. So let me go ahead and do this. Above this, I'm going to create a UL with 2 list items, and these list items are going to be buttons. And let me just copy this down. And the first button says for buyers, and the second one says for sellers. Okay. And then what we want to do is we want to conditionally render these components depending on whether this is true or, well, depending on whether our state value is true or false. So what I'm going to do therefore is this. I'm going to cut this out, and I'm going to add in my curly brackets, and I'm going to say that only when value is true, that's when you want bias to the bias component to show on the screen. And then here we're going to do the opposite. We are going to say when not value, that's when you want the sellers. I hope that is the correct functionality. So let's turn this into true, and on the screen we should only be able to see buyers. Okay, so we can only see buyers on the screen. And you know, let's tell this out so that we can see it properly. So let me go inside. Okay, this is not what I wanted. Let's fix this. Let's fix this functionality. Let's fix the UI. Let's cut this out. Let's place it inside a div with a class of max width dash 6xl with an mx of auto. Let's say padding x of 8. Let's say padding y of 10 to begin with, and then for large screens, let's say padding y of 20. Let's paste that in and let's see what we have. We have this. Okay, looking fantastic. And then now if I try to turn this into false, then what should show is the sellers component. So let's say sellers. There we go. So our functionality is working. It is working correctly. Let's change this back to true by default. And then now we can begin to work on our UI. So the first thing that I want to do is I want this to display as a flex box. Display flex, that it comes here. Okay, and then I'm going to say item center and justify center. For the buttons, let's add a gap of about, let me not add a gap because I want to add padding on the buttons. So here and here, let me give it a class name. Let's say padding y of 2, padding x of 8. Just because, just because. But we're going to change up these class names in a moment because we want the class names to be dynamic depending on our state value. Because as you can see that when buyers is true, then it is highlighted and underlined. And then when sellers is true, it is also highlighted and underlined. So that's what we want to happen. So let's go ahead and build out our buyers component. So inside here, inside our component, let's go ahead and say that for buyers, then we want 3 cards. So 1, 2, and 3. First of all, let's create a div here, and then let's create an article. So the article is going to be this image to begin with. So the img, the source, we don't have the source yet, but we're going to import it. And then below this, we're going to have, let's see, what is this? Should we place it inside a UL, or should we have it as a span and a paragraph? Let me have a paragraph here. Let's have a span. The span says 1, and then the text for the paragraph says this. So copy and paste it. And then let's import this image just so that we can see what we have on the screen. And the images should be called what? For buyers 1, so buy online browser 1. I think that's the correct one. So let's say import buyers 1 from dot slash images / homepage / buy online _ browser 1.png. And then let's copy this down 3 times. So change this to buyers 2, and then change this to buyers 2, change this to buyers 3, change this to buyers 3. And then let's go ahead and now render buyers 1, which is our image, and then save it, and then let's see what we have on the screen. And okay, there we go. So that is the correct image. So now what we're going to do is just copy this article down 2 more times. So Shift Alt 1 2. So change this into 2, change this into buyers 2, change this into bias 3 and change the span into 3. And of course the text needs to change as well, so copy this text and paste it here, and then copy this text and paste it here and save it. And then now let's see what we have on the screen. So we have this, and then we have this, and then this. So that's looking okay. Now what we need to do is we need these articles to align as a flex box. So what we're going to do therefore is this: we're going to go inside this div, give this a class name of flex. Okay, they're going to align in raw form, but then you'll notice that on small screens it's going to have an issue. Look at that. Oh, wait a minute, we didn't fix this even on small screens. Everything else looks okay on mobile except this part and this part as well. So let's fix this part, and then we're going to go back and fix this. So what we're going to do therefore is this: we're going to say flex column on mobile. Let me see, flex column, so that they're going to align in column form. And then for the images, let me just try something here. Let me give this a class name of width dash full, because I want to see how it's going to behave on mobile. Oh my god, that looks horrible on mobile because the image becomes blurry. That looks horrible. And you know what, I've just realized I should probably add this class for the images, for all images. So let's have a max width of 100% so that they don't overflow outside of their container. And then let's set the width to 100% as well, so that they take up 100% of the entire container, so that we don't have to keep on adding that class manually. And you can see that it messes up with this quite horribly. We're going to have issues, but you know what, actually the reason why it messes up with these top images is because of this width of 100%. So if I remove it, it goes back to normal. So let's not have it, and let's just have the width of the max width of 100%, which means basically to set the images to take up 100% of the container in which they are placed without causing an overflow. So inside section 4, let's go ahead and let's just add, let me remove this class from here, and then let me add a class that says mx auto, which is going to center it here. Okay, and then let's copy this, let's paste it on this image and on this image as well. And then let me style out this span. So this span is going to give a class name of padding of about 6 with a rounded dash full with a very slight border. How does that look? Okay, that doesn't look okay. Let me change the border to slate dash 700. Okay, that's too dark. Let's say 500. Okay, and then let's play around with this padding. So padding y of 4 and padding x of 6 to make it rounded. Padding x of 6. Let's see. Almost. And then let me say display this as an inline block so that I can add a margin on the right of 4 to push away from this text just a bit. So here, let me say padding y of 3. How does that look? That should now make it properly rounded. There we go, looking nice. And then let's copy these classes on this span. So copy and paste them here and paste them on this span as well. Let's see. Fantastic. Oh my god, it looks so nice. It does look nice. And then now let's go ahead and deal with the UI, how we want the UI to look. So we had this as flex column to begin with. So I'm going to say that for, let me add a flex wrap here. Flex wrap. And what flex wrap means is that when the flex items reach the end of the device, they automatically go into the next line. So for example, if I did not have flex column here, but I had flex wrap, then look at this. Nothing really changes because they can't align 3 items here. They automatically go into the next line. So if I increase this to a certain width, you'll notice that this should come here. So let's increase it. Let's see. Look at that. And then if I increase it even more, right around, oh, it doesn't because this, we have applied a max width of 6XL here, so this cannot fit here. But we're going to fix that anyways. For now, let's add a gap of about 8 to separate out all the elements that we have. And then we're going to say this. We're going to say that for medium screens, then wait a minute. let's first let's first add in flex column here so that we don't forget and mess up everything. Save it. Let's see. Okay, and then we're going to say that for small screens, then the flex should be wrap, and then for medium screens, then the flex should be row, meaning reset this from a column into a row. And now they should be aligned 1, 2, and 3, but it doesn't because of this class. So let's remove wait a minute, that shouldn't change anything. So for small screens, I should say flex no wrap. Flex no wrap is the class. There we go. Fantastic. And then you know what, flex looks horrible. I mean, I can fix it using flex, but I've used flex over and over, so let's use grid. So let's go here and say that for small screens, then this should change into a grid. And then for small screens, let's say grid columns 2. And then for small screens, we don't need to add a gap because the gap is already applied here. So let's see. So 1, 2, and 3. And then let's say that for medium screens, then the grid columns should be 3. And we should see 1, 2, and 3. Fantastic. Looking nice. And I'm thinking, should I display this as an inline block or as a block element? Let me see, because it's messing up with this just a bit. So block element, and then I need to go inside the paragraph and display the paragraph as a flex box, so that now this comes here. I think that is much better. And then I should say item center as well. Item center, so that this goes back to the center. That is much better. So let's copy these classes on the paragraph, copy and paste it here, and then paste it here. And then let's remove the inline block here. Let's make it block element. So let's just say block element. And that should do that. That is much better. That is much better. So now what we need to do is we need to add some padding here. We need to increase this margin between this UL and the images. So where is the UL? The UL is this one, so it should be inside this div. Let me say that margin top of 10. Pushed away from this part. Okay, and then let me go inside this paragraph. Really, let's say margin top of 8, just to push away from the images a bit. Is that too much? Let me say margin top of 4. Okay, let's copy this and paste it here, and then paste it here as well. Margin top of 4. Looking fantastic. And so as you can see that this is the for buyers part. So now we need to create the for sellers part. So the for sellers, what we need to do is just basically change this into false, and then we should see sellers here. Okay, and then we can begin to structure it out, and it's going to have the same structure as this, I think. So let's just copy all of this and then paste it inside here, but we're going to remove these articles right around here, and then we're only going to remain with one article so that we can see what we have on the screen, really, just for the UI. And for the for sellers, let me see how it looks here in our application. So for sellers, it's basically the same thing, really. Basically the same thing, only the images are different. So we need to import the correct images. So the for sellers one, so let's go ahead and do that. So copy this, copy, and then paste it 1, 2, and 3. Change this buyers. Let's change this into sellers 1, and then sellers 2, and then sellers 3, and then buy online. Where is it? This one. Starting from this one. Starting from this one. That would be the wrong image. So let's say for underscore sellers underscore 1, oops, and then underscore 2, and then underscore 3 dot png, and then let's go ahead and render sellers 1, and we should see the image here. Where is it? The image should be for sellers, and you can see that the image updates, and then the text for the paragraphs needs to say set up a business account. Set up a business account. Once again, just to mention, I realized that this is a link, okay, but the reason I'm not adding it in as a link is because I don't know where this page goes, and I don't think we have created the link for this page. So let's go ahead and do this. You know what, I've just realized this span, the way you've set it up, then the span goes like to the center because of item center. Let me see whether that is going to be an issue first of all by adding in our two remaining articles. So 1 and 2. Change this into sellers 2, change this into sellers 3. The text here says this, so copy and paste it here, and then copy this part and paste it here, and then save it, and then let's see. So there we go. Obviously we need to change these numbers, so this is 3 and then this is 2. Okay, so you can see that the reason why this goes downwards is because of item center, right? But this one, it's more upwards. So the way we fix that is just by saying here item start, and it should bring it upwards. There we go. So here, let me just copy start and paste it here, and then paste it here, and then go above, paste it here, and then paste it here, and save it, and it should fix everything. Okay, and now the remaining thing, one of the remaining things is that we need to add in our button. So our button is going to be the same as this button. So let's copy the classes from section 2. So section 2 button, section 2. Let's copy, which button is it? This one. Should be this one. Copy. And then inside section 4, now inside the buyers, look where I'm going to place the button. I'm going to go outside of this div, outside of the div. Why am I going outside of the div? It's because this div is displayed as a grid. So if I add in this button inside the div, the button is going to be added inside a grid of its own. That's not what I want. And so the button says what? Should say learn more. So learn more. And then let's copy this button and paste it outside of this div for the sellers. There we go. And we should be able to see our button right there. Of course, we don't want the width of full here, so let's remove width full. Let's say doesn't have a padding on the x-axis, so let me say padding of 3. Let's say padding x of, let's say, which is a big padding, 52. Okay, that's a bit too big. Let's say 40. Okay. And then let's go ahead and say right here, let's say make this a block element. What happens there? Nothing. But then I can say mx auto, which is going to center it. There we go. And then let's say margin top of 10, because now it is a block element, so we can add margin. Fantastic. So let me copy these classes here. So padding y of 3, padding x of 40. Let's change it here. So padding y of 3, padding x of 40. And then let's paste in our classes here to make it a block element for the sellers as well. For the buyers as well. So that now when we take a look at the buyers here, when I set this to true, then we should be able to see our button right there. But of course, we haven't removed the width of full. Where is it? There's our button width of full. We need to remove this class. And there we go. Nice. And so now the only thing that is remaining is the toggling for this part, which is a bit annoying. Just a bit annoying. How do we do that? We're going to add an on click on this button, on click event, and we're going to add in our inline function, where we're going to say set the value into true, meaning when you click on the buyers, set the value to true, right? And then when you click on the sellers, copy and paste it here, then we set the value to false. That should be the correct functionality. Let's try it out. Click on buyers. It's already on buyers, so click on sellers. Okay, that should be correct. So currently when I click on buyers, it shows up the buyers. When I click on sellers, it shows the sellers. Now the only thing that is remaining is the styling for these buttons when you click on them, right? So we are going to do this. Instead of having the class names like this as a string, we're going to make them dynamic by adding in our template literals. Curly brackets first, and then our template literals, which are backticks. And then we're going to say this, add in our two classes. And then we're going to say, add in our variable, our dollar sign, and then our curly brackets, and we're going to say that when value is true, meaning only when value is true, then we want the text to be blue-600. First of all, let's save that to see whether it works. Buyers, there we go. You can see that now the text is now blue. So we can continue to add in our classes here and say change the font to bold. And what else? Font to bold, it should have an underline. Is it? Not even an underline really, but a border bottom. So border dash bottom. Is that correct? Oh wait, border B is the class. Border B is the class. Border B, and then let's say border B dash 2, and then let's say border dash what color, blue dash 600. There we go. Nice. And then we're going to do the opposite on this button. So let's copy these class names here, and then let's replace it here. And then instead of saying that when value is true here, we're going to say when not value, meaning when value is false. So let's save it, and we should see nothing change on the screen. But when I click on this, look at that. Look at that. Would you look at that? Looking nice. Now what I want to do is I want to have a hover state for this, so that when I hover over it, it gives some kind of like indication that you're hovering over it. So we're going to do this. Right here, we're going to say that when you hover over this, then change the text to blue-500, add the transition dash all with a duration of 150. Let me change this to 400 just to make it a bit lighter, and then let's copy these classes and paste them here. Oops, paste them here. Let's see. There we go. That looks nice. It does look nice. And would you look at that? That is our functionality. Let's see how it looks on small screens. So for small screens, this can be aligned as they are because they're small enough where they don't go all the way to the end. So that looks nice. And our toggle is working correctly. Nice. So now what we need to do is we need to fix this section. So this is section 3. Section 3 needs to be fixed. How did I align them? They are a flex box. So I'm going to say flex column to begin with, and then for medium screens, then change this back into flex row. How does that look? Flex column, nice. And then for medium screens, right around. Oh no. What? This is because I placed max width on small screens. Where is it? Where are you? Oh wait, it's not here. Then that is as simple as just making this to be applied on medium screens, as well as on this div say medium screens. There we go. Fixed. Would you look at that? So right around there, medium screens, they align as 2 items, and then right around here they align as a flex column. That's looking nice. And we can go ahead into the next section, and the next section is this part here, this blue part. And this blue part, I think, is a radial gradient. I think so, at least. So let's go ahead and create it. So let's create section 5. So inside homepage here, new file called section5.js. Let's say rfc, and then let's go ahead and render section 5. Let's close this. So section 5, import it, and there we go. And we should see section 5 on the screen. And then let's go ahead and add in this h2. And this h2, let me just copy the classes of this one. So section 4, where is section 4? Here. Let's copy the h2 that we have here. So copy, and then inside here, let's add it in. So let's first of all add in a div with a class of max width -6sl with an mx of auto, and then paste our h2 in, and then change this now no longer text slate, so we can remove this class, and then we can remove the margin on the bottom actually, and let's reduce this to 4. And then this text says join 200 million active PayPal. I've done something wrong because I've added the max width on this div, so the blue color won't persist to the end. So let's fix that by just adding in another div. Okay, And then once you have that, then below this div, we can add even another div. And then this other div is going to say these 3 articles. So we're going to create an article here. The article is going to say an h3 that says safe and protected. Copy and paste. Below this h3, we're going to have a paragraph. Copy and paste. Below this paragraph, we're going to have a button. Copy and paste. There we go. And then we can just copy and paste this article 2 more times. So 1 and 2. The second title says this. Oops. Copy and paste. The second one says this. Copy and paste. The button text says this. Oops. Copy and paste. And then the third title says this. Copy and paste. The next text says this. Copy and paste. And then finally the third one says this. Copy and paste. There we go. So that is our section. That is our div actually. So let's save this. Let's see how it looks. Right around here. There we go. On small screens, it looks like so. Really terrible, right? And then on large screens, we are going to limit it. And so first of all, wait a minute. We need to add this. We need to add this part here on this div, class name, so that the div, so that these are also limited. And then we need to have a padding on the x of 8 here, and then a padding on the x of 8 here. And then this div needs to have a gradient. So let me add a custom class name here of radial gradient. And then let me Google how to make a radial gradient. So radial gradient CSS, because I have forgotten. So radial gradient is right here, and it says it should have this. So let me see. Demo. So really, I just want this first one, right? I just want the first one. So let's copy this part, copy, and then inside our CSS, inside the custom class of radial gradient, let's go below this. Let's say that for the dot radial gradient, I need to paste this in, and the first color, let's go ahead and get the colors using our color picker eyedropper. So go from this color, copy and paste it here to this color. So this lighter one inside here. Okay, copy and paste it here. Save it, and then let's see what we have on the screen. Yeah, it does not look how I expected. Well, this color is outside. The lighter color is outside. I want this one to start and then this one to end. There we go. That looks much better. And then now let's go ahead and begin to style this out. So let's give it a padding on the Y of 10. And then for large screens, let's give it a padding on the Y of 20. And then change all the text to white. Okay, looking nice. Inside this H2, let me see. Okay, yeah. Inside this H2, let's give it a margin bottom of 8. Then for large screens, let's say margin bottom of 12. Okay, and then let's go inside this div, change this into a grid with grid columns -1 to begin with a gap of 8. And then for medium screens, then grid columns 2. And then for large screens, then grid columns 3. Save it, and it should be 1, 2, 3. Okay. What did I just notice? What did I just realize? I realized something in my head, but I can't seem to remember it. Oh, you know what? Oh, I realized that I wanted to add a padding here on this H2 so that it doesn't go to the end, but I've already added it in. So, okay. That looks okay. You can see that it looks manageable on small screens, but let's style out these headings first of all. So inside this H3, give this a class name of text-large. How big is that? No, let me just say XL. Let's say margin bottom of 2. And then on this paragraph, let's give this a class name of margin bottom class name equals to margin bottom of 8 away from this link. And then on the button, let's say class name font dash bold to make it just a bit bold. And then let's copy this and paste it here, and then copy this and paste it here, and then copy this and paste it here, and then let's also paste it on the final one, and then copy this and paste it here, and then copy this and paste it here. And now everything should be uniform. There we go, looking nice. Even the radial gradient is looking quite nice, if I do say so myself. And then finally we need these two sections, so sign up and get started. And for the sign up, maybe we're going to be using the sign up on multiple pages, or not really. It's nowhere. Let me see if it's on multiple pages. Nope, it's nowhere. I thought we could create one component and then just reuse it, but it seems that we are not going to do that. So let me create a component in the home page here called sign up. So sign up.js, and then let's say RFC, and then inside our home page here, let's render sign up. So sign up, and then we should be able to see sign up on the screen right there. Okay, and then let's begin to build our component. So sign up, let's return a, what is this, a div? How does it look? So basically this h2 that we've been copying all along up to here, we need to get it as well. So let's go back into section, this is 5 and 4, so section 4, and then copy the h2, sorry. So section 4, copy this h2, and then let's paste it inside here. And then below this h2, we're going to have a button, the class of btn blue. Remember, we created it, and this is going to say get started. Is that it? Get started? Oh yeah, get started. And we have this, so get started is here, and we have our thingy, our h2. So let's reduce this to margin bottom of 12. Let's grab both of this and place them inside a div with a max width of 6xl with an mx of auto, and then a padding on the x of 8, and then a padding on the y of 10 to begin with, and then for large screens, then padding on the y of 20, and paste this in, and we should be able to see this. And then inside here, let's make this a block element, and then let's say mx auto to properly center it. Okay, and this padding x is a bit small for me, so let's increase it. So where we had btn blue, we had a padding on the x of 20. So let's say that for large screen, then the padding has to be 40, just to increase it massively for no good reason. Yeah, this can work, I mean, you know. And so that is this section. And then finally, oh wait, the text does not say this. So sign up again started here. Let's change this text here, and we should see sign up again started. And then we can finally create our footer. Now the footer is going to be on every page, right? We want the footer to appear on every page, so I don't want it to be on the home page only. So I'm going to create the footer. Did I create it here? I'm going to create the footer as a global component, and the way I'm going to do that is by going inside the source folder and creating a new folder called components, and then inside components I'm going to create footer.js, and then inside here let's say RFC, and then the way I want footer to behave is I want it to appear on every page, just like we're going to do with the navbar. So we're not going to render it inside our home page, but we are going to render it inside our app.js, if I can find it here. And then because I want it to appear on every page, it is not going to be limited to any route. So we're going to go outside of the routes component here, and then we're going to render our footer. Okay, so once again, the reason why, remember to import it, the reason why we're rendering footer here is because I want it to appear on every page, so that when I save this, I should still see footer here, but even if I go to a route that does not exist, I am still going to see the footer. Okay, remember we created the error page, but the footer is now going to appear on every page. That is basically the functionality that I wanted to show you. And now let's go ahead and build out the footer. So the footer looks like this. We have, I mean, we're not going to add in this flag because this flag is dynamic depending on which region you come from. But we're going to add in this top part, which is going to be a pane. So inside the footer, let's go ahead and return a fragment and then a footer element. Footer, if I can even spell it. And then inside the footer, we're going to have a UL with list items. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So LI times 6. This is going to be help and contact. The second one says fees, and then security, and then features shop feedback. So features, and then shop, and then feedback. Okay, and then below this UL, we're going to have a horizontal line. So HR, which is horizontal line, and then we're going to have another UL, and then this UL is going to be this part here. Okay, not because now we want to add in this part, then I'm going to add in a div, and then inside this div we're going to have two ULs. So the first UL is going to be this one, and then the second UL is going to be this one. So this first UL has how many links? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So LI times 5. This one says about, and then newsroom, and then jobs, developers, partners. So jobs, developers, and then partners. And then this one has how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. So LI times 4. This one says copyright, so ampersand copy and then semicolon to add this copyright symbol. So 1999 to 2023. And then this says accessibility, and then this one says privacy, and then legal. Okay, and then below this div we have a paragraph that says all this. So copy and paste, looking nice. So let's save this, and then let's see what we have on the screen, and then we can begin to style this out. So first of all, let's limit the entire footer. Give this a class name of max width 6XL and MX auto, and then padding on the X of 8. There we go. So limits everything. Inside this UL, give this a class name of text slate 700, and then let's change it into a flexbox with item center, and then justify start so that they don't go to the end. Give it a gap of about 4 to separate them out. And you know what, I am doing something wrong because we need to build this mobile first, otherwise we're going to have issues, as you can see. So here, let's just change this into flex column. Okay, and that can remain, by the way, even for mobile screens. So let's go ahead and copy this, paste it inside this UL and this UL. Is that going to be an issue? I hope not. Okay, and then let's go ahead and let's see. Let me go ahead and give this a class name of text slate 600 with text small. How does that look? And then let's say margin Y of 6 to separate it out just a bit. There we go. So let's style this better. Let's do this. Let me change this to slate 800 just to make it a bit darker for this top part. And then let me change it into font bold. So font bold. Okay. Let me change it back to 700. Yeah. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a line break here so that it breaks right there, and then above, so right below this actually, I'm going to add another line break so that it adds a space here. Okay, and you know what, let me even do it for here. Let me even do it here. just because there we go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make this align here on larger screens. So right here, I'm going to say that for medium screens, then change the flex to row. And you can see that this is what happens. So we're just going to copy this and paste it here and paste it here. And that should be it. Okay, so this is here and then this is here. And then what we're going to do is we need this to be a flex box so that this comes here. And then what you need to do is this needs to be a flex box, so these two, so that this comes here. And I apologize if you can hear some noise outside. The kids are coming back from school. So let's go inside this div, and that is the reason why I added this div. So I can go here and say give a class name that for medium screens, then change this into a flex box right there. And then for medium screens, I'm going to say items dash center, and then for medium screens, then justify dash between, which is going to take it to the end right there. Would you look at that, looking fantastic? Nice. And these are links, by the way, in case you didn't notice, but these are all links, but I've not set them to be links in our application. So that is our footer, and you can go ahead and try it out to go into something like a link like pay online, which I think exists. And you'll notice that in our pay online link, the footer still shows up, looking nice. And so that is going to be our homepage, and in the next video we're going to begin to build out our personal page. I think it's going to be this part. We're going to build out this page in the next video. So see you in the next video.